Hi, and welcome to this lesson on coordinates. It's part of our Level 1 and Level 2 Functional Skills Maths course. The learning outcome is to read, write and calculate coordinates within two-dimensional shapes. The linked learning links back to directions and positions. In previous lessons, we talked about finding a position by going around a bearing and going along a certain distance to get to a point. Well, there's actually another way that we can get to that point by using coordinates, by saying go this far along and this far up to get to that point. And that's what coordinates are. So a coordinate is a grid system that allows us to use numbers to identify a position. So whenever you have coordinates, you have two axes. The left-right axis is called the x-axis, and the up and down axis is called the y-axis. And when you give a coordinate, you always go across first and then up and down. And you usually put coordinates in brackets in maths so you know that when you see two numbers with a comma between them in brackets, we are talking about a position, coordinates. So there's two things you'll need to do with coordinates. That's read coordinates and write coordinates. So let's start by writing a coordinate. So if I have a coordinate of 3, 2, then it's telling me I need to, from the origin, go 3 steps along and 2 steps up. So that point there, let's call it point A, is this point here called point A. If either of the coordinates are negative, for the x-axis it means you go this way, and for the y-axis you go down this way. So if I had a coordinate -3, -5, and we'll call that point B, I would go 3 along in the negative direction and 5 in the down direction. So this would be point B. Conversely, if you have to read coordinates, let's make up points C and point D. To find the coordinates for point C, count the number of squares across, so it's 3 across, and it's 3 down. So the coordinates of point C are 3 minus 3. For point D, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the negative direction, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the positive direction. So the coordinates for point D are -5, 6. So the key points for coordinates are that the coordinates are always the x-axis first and then the y-axis. X is always across, but don't forget if it's negative, you go left instead of right. And the y-axis, it's up if it's positive and it's down if it's negative. Some people remember it when they were at school as saying in the house and then up to the stairs. That's just saying do the x coordinate first and then the y coordinate. So here are some coordinates for you to have some practice with. So write down the coordinates for points A, B, C and D, and then I want you to plot the coordinates E and F. Now notice when you put points on coordinates, we use a cross. If you use a dot and then another dot, sometimes you join coordinates and the dots disappear. So try and remember to use a cross when you're plotting coordinates. Okay, for point A, we can see that it's 4 across and it's 4 up. So point A is 4, 4 as a coordinate. Point B is 5 across, but this time it's 2 down. So that's the negative direction on the y-axis. For point C, it's 2 left, so it's negative. and then it's 2 in the positive direction on the y-axis. For the x-axis, point D is 3 in the negative direction and 4 in the negative y direction. So point D is -3 -4. Let's plot point E. So point E is -4, 4. So -4 in the negative x direction, 4 in the positive y direction. And for F, it's 1, 0. So it's 1 in the x direction, but 0 in the up and down direction, the y direction. So point F lives on the line here. In class, we practiced this using a plotter activity to read and write coordinates. Sometimes you'll be asked to give coordinates to complete shapes. So if we have a rectangle and we know 3 of the coordinates, they might ask you to complete the rectangle by giving the 4th coordinate. So the 4th coordinate would be here. So it's 8 in the x direction and 8 in the y direction. So the missing point to complete our rectangle would be the coordinate 8, 8. Here's a question that you could get in the exam where you need to make the shape and then give the coordinates that make that shape. So make an isosceles triangle by adding a new point, drawing the triangle, and write down the 3rd point of the triangle. Now you need to know what an isosceles triangle is. So it's a triangle where 2 of the sides are the same length. So if I place a cross here, then this side is going to be the same length as this side. So that makes it an isosceles triangle. So I've drawn my triangle, I've shown the 2 sides that are the same length. So the point that I needed to do that is 3 in the x direction and 5 in the y direction. And that completes the learning outcome to read, write, and calculate coordinates with 2-dimensional shapes. The buzzword for this lesson are the coordinates. These are things that dictate the position of an object. The x-axis goes left to right on our grid, and the y-axis goes up and down. If it's left of 0, it's negative, and if it's below 0 on the y-axis, it is again a negative number. That completes the video. If you want more practice or you've got any questions, please ask your teacher. Otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed this video.